Welcome to the TPL Show, a podcast dedicated to the study and discussion of leadership. Join us as we share relevant, simple, and lasting methods for improvement that can be used to lead from any level in any organization.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of the TPL Show. I'm Luke Weber and I'm here with Dave Cahill. Today we are going to talk about something that is really cool, and it's called the 1440 meeting. Before we get into some of the details, Dave, I want to ask you, since you kind of created this system, can you give us a little bit of the background on the 1440 system and kind of where it came from?
Sure. So I'm excited too. And clients have been writing us and talking to us. When are you doing one on the 1440? When are you going to do the 1440? Yep. So here we are. We thought we'd wait until we got the video format to do that, so we could share some information graphically. But the 1440 management system has an interesting beginning. So many years ago, I was working in a situation with very strong hygiene controls because some of the elements in the process could cause illness that could lead to death. And so there were zones. There were zones where the product that had this particular aspect was being manufactured or worked with. There were zones where people were close to the process but not directly involved. And then there were zones where people were just doing business practices and not close to the manufacturing process. And I had responsibility for departments in all of those zones.
Okay.
So how do we align and meet together and talk together?
Right.
It was way before Zoom and all that stuff. So we developed what we called the outdoor meeting.
Okay.
And the outdoor meeting took place right on the line between the zones.
Yeah.
So the people from one zone were on one side of the line, the people from the other were on the other side.
Okay.
And we all stood up, and we actually put kind of a tent like you'd see a garage sale tent out there. And we stood up and we held that meeting outside. And from that, we needed a way to be as quick as possible because during some parts of the year, it was very unpleasant indeed to be out in that outside environment. So from that came the Socratic question set.
Okay.
And those of you that know the 1440 management system, you're very familiar with the Socratic question set, or what people call the Socratics. So why did we name it the Socratic question set? Because it sounded cool. It's not really how Socrates did the Socratic method or anything, but it stuck, you know.
Sure.
So the Socratic question set is like the pre-flight checklist on for pilots, when they're about to take off. And so we ask yes/no questions that are structured so that the answer yes means something's wrong, and the answer no means everything's okay. So you just ask the question, and everybody answers from their perspective in the business. If everybody says no, you move on. You don't even talk about that. You go to the next. Now, you can ask very specific questions, very focused on your unique business, things that you care about, things that the customer cares about, and so forth. And if someone answers yes, then you stop, you consider that, you move to a corrective action, and you note that corrective action and move on. This takes meetings that used to take an hour, 75 minutes, and drops them down to 6 to 8 minutes. It's just absolutely amazing. So that's where it started. Then, years later, I'm continuing to practice this. I'm still in corporate America, and I'm implementing it wherever I go. And years later, we were in a very dire situation. I was working as the manager of an ethanol plant, and we just had a tremendous amount of stress and challenge to get the ethanol plant up and running. And so we developed what was called the o'clock meeting. That's what they'd call it. Right. So instead of people going out to lunch, I'd pipe in lunch and we'd all meet during lunch because the lunchtime killed the day. Some guys would leave at 11, some guys 11:30, some 12, some 12:30, some 1. Right. And the next thing you know, we've lost 3.5 hours of deciding an action time when we could align because of everyone going off on their own at lunch. So I piped in lunch, and we had this meeting. And I would start asking for the follow-ups, what time? Not just what day, but what time. And that's when the concept of ETBR, enjoy the business result, was born and brought into the meeting.
Okay.
So we know a single owner, date and time, that takes about 60 days off the life of an average project.
Wow.
And really, something happens to the human mind when you say time instead of just day.
Right.
So that started to really dramatically close up the time for follow-up, really shortened the time from ideation to results. And everyone affectionately called it the o'clock meeting, because I'd always be asking what time.
Okay.
So this all eventually evolved into the 1440 management system. And the 1440 management system, what's that all about? Well, there's 1,440 minutes in a day, and we're going to use them all productively, including time to rest.
Okay.
So the 1440 management system gets its roots in this very tactical environment, asking the key questions you need, by drawing the information about performance and circumstances and so forth from the last 1440 meeting, and creating a plan to get you through to the next 1440 meeting.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's a throughput meeting in its heart, and it's just very effective in that way, very efficient. You're in and you're out. But the benefit is not direct. The benefit is indirect. Because the meeting time shrinks up so much, people have way more time to think, plan, and lead.
There you go.
Right, which is it's the very name of our show.
Right.
So the 1440 is something we put in first when we're coming to help people, and it creates a self-funding for the improvement initiatives they want to make by saving so much time. So that's how it got its start and how it evolved, and we'll talk a lot more about where it is today. But I just could not be more excited, because this single tool is incredibly valuable
Big difference,
for organizations.
Absolutely. So we want to follow our normal what, why, how.
Yeah. As best we can.
But it's a little bit different this time when we talk about the 1440 management system and the structure. Now that we know a little bit of the history that you just shared with us.
Oh, and Luke, there's one more thing I forgot to mention.
Yeah, go
ahead. I get so excited about this, I went off the list, right? So I just want to give you a little case study.
Okay.
So we encountered a client that was in a beautiful situation. They were selling baby food, in essence. Food products for toddlers and small children and babies and so forth. And it was at a time where it was not in the U.S. It was another country. It was Brazil, as a matter of fact, right? So the market was exploding for this because the economy was going gangbusters.
Okay.
Everybody was back to work. Mothers wanted to go to work for the first time and so forth. So they really needed this product. So that market is growing, and the brand is a very established brand. People trust it and so forth. So they're just in the catbird seat.
Okay.
They built a new plant. There's a lot of circumstances around that, but they had a new production facility to accommodate this market, right? So, but they couldn't meet market demand. They were having all kinds of operational problems. It was a third-party situation, manufacturing, and because they were under such challenges, people started to infight. The culture became somewhat toxic. There was finger-pointing and that kind of thing, right? So we came in to try to help them. And then, you can see, the production that they were dealing with before we began. Yeah. And we started in mid-January to support them. Guess what we did?
I don't know. What'd you do?
We put in the 1440 management system. That's it. That's all we did.
Yeah.
So we put in the 1440 management system, trained people on the basics of that and the etiquette, which is developing the Socratic question set. There are some other tools too, but that's the main driver for the 1440 management system, right? Put that in, trained everyone into use, and then just began to execute against that in a disciplined way.
Okay.
Put it in mid-January. Look at those numbers. By February, we were meeting customer demand.
Wow.
And then look what happened.
Yep.
We didn't invest in capital equipment. We didn't add another shift. We didn't do massive training. Yeah. We just got people talking together, asking the right questions at the right time, following up quickly, taking personal accountability, and executing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's the power of the 1440, and we've seen it again and again and again. And when people use this system, they tend to never put it aside. So I'm sitting, kind of in a review session not too long ago, and it comes up about customer complaints. So customers coming in and complaining to the organization about the service, and I see the response in the audit, kind of the assessment of this. It says, in essence, people are making complaints to our service department, and they feel as if those complaints aren't being addressed and they're not getting any feedback. So the corrective action was, we will make sure that all new complaints get read, get asked about and read and acted upon at the very next 1440 meeting after they come into the system. Well, this was in 2023 that I heard this, right? That 1440 went into place in 2014.
Wow.
And I had never been involved with the customer since then. They were almost 10 years later still doing that daily 1440 meeting.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's really that powerful, and it's so simple to implement. And you can, when we saw the chart, looking at the chart, I mean, you see the results almost immediately. So, and it's very sustainable as well.
Yeah, for sure. So you've had some experiences with the 1440.
I have, yeah.
How about you share one?
Okay. I guess I'm trying to think of one of the best ones that I can share with our listening audience. I think the experience that I'd like to talk about is the very first time that I was involved with the 1440.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So I was working for a local manufacturing company.
Uh-huh.
You would actually, as Avenula came into our company, and one of the first things that you guys did was implement our 1440 system.
Very first thing.
And we had been using a type of daily production meeting, right, to review numbers, to review issues, defects that we were having on the line, or complaints that the operators were saying that the equipment was failing. So we were reviewing that almost on a daily basis. However, that meeting was probably at least, I would say it was at least an hour, and sometimes it could go to like an hour and 15, something like that. And it had 7 or 8 people in it, all the way from management to supervision, and even had a couple operators, right? So that meeting was very time-consuming for all the people involved. Yeah. So when we learned about the 1440 system, you came in and introduced us to it.
Yeah.
We were extremely excited because one of the things that you told us was, hey, we can take an hour-long meeting and drop it down to single-digit minutes.
Yeah.
And we're like, how is this even possible, right? We didn't even really know that.
Yeah. Couldn't even imagine
we didn't really believe you at first, but once we learned more about it, excuse me, and we actually did our first 1440 meeting. And I think that first one, which is usually the longest when you implement it.
The longest on history is the first one you do.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it was maybe 22 minutes or something like that. Yeah. So it went from an hour and 15 minutes all the way down to 22. And it was the very first one. We were still developing the Socratic question set that we needed to address, or made sure that we addressed all the issues in our meeting that were important. So we were using this for a daily meeting, and I think we did it, it was around 9 o'clock in the morning or something like that. After the first week or so, we had it down to about 8 or 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was, I remember sitting back one day, because the way that the system works, right? So all of the yes or no questions, the Socratic questions, you would write out an action statement.
Yeah.
On the WMS, the work management system. And I remember sitting back and looking at this chart on the wall, because we did everything on paper, right?
Yeah.
Write on the paper on the wall so everybody can see it. And I remember looking at all of the items that we had listed on there within a week and a half's time, right? And how many things that we were able to list, address, and accomplish, like fix, in a meeting that took 9 minutes long. And we could see you could see how many things were being added every meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the next day that we would have the meeting, all of those items were addressed and taken care of by the time the next meeting happened. And if it didn't, then you would have a second ETBR.
Yeah.
So you'd have the next time that one would be addressed and be taken care of. And it wasn't that far out because everybody wanted to get those items taken off their list.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I remember sitting back and seeing how much stuff we got done and how much we were able to accomplish in such a short amount of time. I mean, I was dumbfounded. And I remember the feeling was mutual among a lot of my colleagues. So I remember it was pretty eye-opening, and it was a fantastic system to be able to use.
What was the impact on the business?
I think our throughput numbers increased by a notch or two, like a couple percentage points. But I remember the defects went down because we were addressing issues much quicker.
The causes of defects, you were addressing them quicker.
Yeah, the cause of defects we were addressing much quicker, so those were dropping, and they wouldn't just linger on for days because, with the shift work, one shift would address an issue, the next shift would have no idea what happened, and that might reoccur again. So it really helped take care of that communication breakdown that was in the system. So
yeah, that's fabulous. Yeah. I remember that implementation.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Your organization had just implemented SAP
Yep.
and stopped measuring on-time delivery and all kinds of crazy stuff. And we implemented that at each of your manufacturing facilities. And the general feedback was that it really helped turn the ship around. So we've done this all over the world. At any given point, probably in 6 languages, this is going on, the 1440 management system. We've done it in all kinds of businesses. Healthcare.
Right.
Prisons. Law enforcement. City government.
Pharmaceuticals.
Food manufacturing. Plastics. Heavy metals. Aviation. Energy. You name it, right? Yeah. And it just is a rock-solid system for aligning and acting and doing it in a much more productive way.
Very, very universal, can be utilized across many different organizations, so it's very beneficial to whoever implements it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about it at a very high level, and then we'll probably do a second show where we could get into the guts of
definitely. I think that's what we should do.
Of the meeting and so forth. But we'll talk about how you drag this into the organization, implement it, and all that. And we'll have in the show notes kind of a flyer that highlights this.
We'll throw a link in there.
In the, at a high level. Right?
Yep. Okay.
And then we also have a deal. We actually have a deal. We've got,
of course,
we've got a special going on right now if you want to implement this in your organization, along with another topic like Gemba walks.
Gemba, that'd be big,
the classic Genchi Genbutsu Gemba walks that we do. So it's really a great value. So we'll talk about that a little bit at the end, right? Okay. So let's get into the details here, right? We'll try to do the what, why, how.
I mean, I know we've
be a little bit looser today.
Right. I know we've talked about it a little bit in detail already, but I mean, just to kind of stick with our normal format, we can go back and kind of revisit the thing. So let's talk about what it is, right? So the standard definition of the 1440 meeting. So we have a definition of NULO, and it's simply this: a meeting management process that reduces meeting times by 66% or more and triples meeting effectiveness.
Yeah,
right?
There you go.
So that it's that simple.
It is. It's that simple, and it's a key phase in the AVA-NULO way, our operational excellence process. That phase is called syncopo or alignment, right? And we almost always put this in first because it brings about such evenness and stability and frees people up to think, plan, and lead that it makes the implementation of an operational excellence model, cultural change, and so forth much better. So as you're listening to the detail of our implementation of this, think about this. We get a lot of prospective clients that will say this to us: "Oh, we want to implement this 1440 management system, but not right now, because right now we're in a crisis, and we just almost have to bite our tongues and say, that's the time to do it.
The perfect
we
time
can
to do
put this program in a day,
right.
and in 1 week it's up and running, and it helps you to dig out of the mess.
The impact is immediate.
Right. So there just aren't enough employees to go around. This is kind of the why, right? There's not. It's very difficult to hire employees right now, either because of budget limits or there just aren't people available that have the skill sets that you're looking for.
Right.
So, but you're growing. You're expanding, or you have additional regulatory requirements you have to worry about. The work is growing, and you have to figure out how to do it with the people you have. And the answer can't just be that they work harder and longer, because right now, that is not the way people are viewing work. Since COVID, everything has changed in terms of what we might call work-life balance, right? And how people approach work, whether it's remote or not remote, and all that. So you have to, in order to attract and retain people, you have to be a place that's not overwhelming people, that's not stressing them out, that's not uneven in your work demands and so forth. But the simple truth is, most companies, the total labor cost, the labor hours that you expend, about 15% of them are spent in meetings right now. And it's even worse for leaders. For leaders, it's as high as 50% of their working day is spent in meetings, right? That's crazy. So if meetings were production lines or customer service processes, you would never allow the variation, the lack of standard, the poor quality that we allow as companies, especially larger companies, in meetings. We have just varying approaches to meetings. Anyone can call one anytime they want for anything they want and invite anyone they want. Imagine running a production facility that way, or a warehouse or distribution center. There's just no way you would do that. Yeah. And yet you take the most highly paid, most talented, specialized, difficult to find people, and you just release them to meet and interact in any way they want in this unstructured way. It's just a recipe for sub-optimization.
Sure. It locks everybody up.
Right? So, so a key aspect of getting your arms around productivity and work-life balance and engagement and all that is meetings. So leaders have to take personal responsibility for ensuring that meeting systems, their meeting management systems, are optimized, they're continually improved, and you're getting the most out of them.
Sure.
And this is what the 1440 management system does for you. Yep. The days of we'll put a list up in the meeting room about how to keep it clean and everyone should have an agenda for that's not going to cut it.
Never will.
You've got to get into a higher standard of the way you interact in that. So, and there's also a sweet spot. It's interesting. As you start to walk down this process and you eliminate the number of meetings, for instance, there's a place where there's too many meetings and there's a place where there's too few meetings. So maybe I'll bring that, we could share that chart quickly. So we pulled up some very useful data, right, that talks about the impact of how many meetings you have in your organization. Mm-hmm. And of course, the larger the organization is, the more and more important this gets to be. If you're an organization of 10 or 12 people, then the ability for this kind of system to leverage benefit for you is minimal, right? When you start to become an organization of 100, 200, 500, 1,000, then this process starts to really yield huge benefits. Now, the smaller company can get some benefit from this,
of course,
right? Yep. In terms of not so much getting back time, but making sure the right things are covered in the right way and accountability is clear and so forth. But larger organizations get huge productivity benefit out of this. So when you're moving along this process, you can establish your baseline, right? Here's how many meetings we have a week. Here's how much time we. This is an easy thing to do. Right? And then you can ask simple questions like, how much does the improvement you're making impact productivity? How much does it impact cooperation, engage people in cooperation? How much does it just engage them in the work in general? How satisfied are people with the idea of the meetings process and structures that you have? So, there's simple surveys you can do, right? So obviously folks have done this, right? And when you get to the point when you've reduced 20% of the meetings that are happening in your workplace, you see about 35% of the folks are thinking there's a productivity gain from that, and 15% thinking there's a cooperation gain, and 28% thinking there's an engagement gain, and 48% of the people are satisfied with the improvement you're making. That keeps getting better and better and better until you get up to about 80%, which is typically where you can get to when you fully implemented the 1440 management system. We say at least 66%, but you can typically get up to about 80% improvement, right? At that point, 74% of the people that are in meetings in your organization, they're thinking the productivity is impacted, 58% cooperation, 44% engagement.
Up a little bit there.
Right? And 62% are thinking satisfaction is now being achieved in terms of how we're doing this, right? So then it starts to go down. So when you get better than 80% elimination, it starts to go the other way because now people aren't feeling connected enough. So what we know is reducing the number of meetings, that metric, has a sweet spot.
Okay.
Right? And so we know, not scientifically, but experientially, the same sweet spot exists with effectiveness of meetings. It can become so rigorous that it loses its effectiveness, or it can become so unstructured that it loses its effectiveness. Right. And so the 1440 management system has figured this out. They figured out how to get to the right sweet spot for effectiveness and for number of meetings that you're having in an organization by creating a structure that lets you design on a rheostat and set that right level for you, because it's different for one organization than it is for another. So that's the
very interesting.
The first thing to note, right? And then some people right now are listening to this and they're saying, "Why would I want to worry about all? Just have an agenda." And what we're telling you is, meetings are very socio-technically complex in terms of your culture and what you get out of them and how they drive your business or stall your business. Right. This is not stuff to think about lightly. You have to design and think about these things in a very serious way, just like you do for a production process or a customer service process. Sure. So that's the idea.
It's so often overlooked as well. I mean, that people just don't realize how much meetings have an impact on their day until their calendar is booked full of them. And then they're like, man, I can't get anything done because I'm in a meeting for 7 out of the 9 hours that I'm at the office.
Right. And then the answer is you work late, you take it home with you.
Exactly. You're stressed out the next day because you're coming back in and I don't have anything done. Yeah.
And about 90 days into that, part of your work day is freshening up your resume, polishing up your LinkedIn account, and you're going to go find the next guy.
Yep, that's right.
So it just doesn't make any sense to not pay very serious attention to this.
Yep, this is huge. Let's talk about how we're going to implement the 1440 management system in an organization. Right? Yeah. So there's 4 different steps for this.
Kind of 4 strategic steps.
Yeah. So the first one is we're going to focus on reducing the duration of routine meetings. Mm-hmm. And so this can be done by doing this, you can reduce those durations by almost 83%.
Oh, man.
Which is huge, right?
It's huge.
And this is using the 1440 management system.
Okay.
So this meeting system can be implemented and in place in 1 day.
1 day.
1 day. So we come in, we train everybody, we hold the meeting, facilitate the meeting, and then we have a little bit of a feedback session at the end of that.
So that 1 day, they're learning about it.
Right.
They're developing their own specific Socratic questions, unique to the business. Yep. Then we do a little mock meeting, and they're out, and the thing's ready to go.
And that's it. So in the following day, you hold the meeting again, and then they're reading the Socratic questions that they put in place.
Yeah.
And then we're facilitating this again, and then at the end, we have a little bit of a review session, so feedback. On the third day, somebody from the organization that we've trained over the last 2 days and has seen it work over the last 2 days, they will be facilitating.
So they take over. Day 3, the organization's taken over.
They're off and running.
And they're off and running.
That's right. And so
how fast till results?
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Right.
And you start seeing significant results. And I got to tell you, Luke, many times I've seen results sooner than that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
So
it really depends on each situation. But
so a day you learn this new system, this new way of thinking about meetings. Develop your own. Practice it. Day 2, it's in. It's going.
Yep. Time to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
That's
on how quickly it is.
Any special equipment needed?
No.
software?
Nope. You can. We have some digital tools that can utilize,
but don't need it.
But we don't need it. It can be done with paper, posters on the wall if you want to. We can even do it with small pieces of paper.
Do you have to have a special kind of room?
No, not really.
No.
You can use whatever you want.
Yeah.
Boardroom.
So where are some of the places you've seen 1440 meetings happen?
Well, obviously the first one is a typical boardroom or a meeting room. I've seen 1440s occur on shop floors.
Yeah, me too.
I've seen them be right out in front of the machines.
Yep.
I've seen in the maintenance shops, in the middle of all the
hallways,
all the parts. I've seen hallways down.
Seen guys wheel out those whiteboards on
they've done them
on
right
wheels,
in the middle of the
right in front of the forklift. You know, all this, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just you can do it anywhere. I mean, there's really no specific place you have to hold these meetings.
Yeah.
So,
okay. All right. So the first step was reducing duration of meetings.
Routine meetings.
So you're taking an hour-long meeting, bringing it down to 6 to 8 minutes, that kind of thing.
It's crazy,
right?
That fast.
Okay. And in 2 weeks, you're rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
By day 2, by the second day, you're in.
That's right.
Okay. So the next step, right, is to reduce the number of meetings. And you do that by 50 to 85% with our process, right?
Wow.
And that's thematics. 1440 theme meetings, or thematics, they're called.
Okay.
Right? So now that you've got this routine where all the key people are coming together for that throughput meeting, right? And by the way, it starts to grow on its own. That's, I guess, a little peek under the covers. The first one you put in, that first 1440 meeting you put in, the throughput meeting, people become astonished. And they're like, oh, my gosh.
Right.
Well, the organization has all the training materials, all the tools, and the next thing you know, leaders are taking responsibility to optimize meeting management like they should, and they're moving it to the department level. And then the department leaders start moving it to the Gemba, and we see quickly with step 1, 60 days, 90 days, it's from the boardroom to the shipping dock.
That's right.
Everybody's doing this. And everywhere they go in the organization, the meeting has that same style, the same look and feel, even though this one's on the back of a forklift and this one's in the big Crystal Palace boardroom, right? So when that's up and running and the right people are meeting in the right way to talk about throughput, you can put in thematics. So thematics are simply a meeting that follows the 1440. Everybody's different. Some people have a weekly rotation. Some people have a 2-week rotation, where it might be. But for instance, Monday is safety day. And after the 1440 ends, there's a 1440 a safety theme meeting, safety thematic.
It focuses on
and
safety.
And Tuesday's quality day, and Wednesday's maintenance, whatever. It's whatever that organization would want to do. And that safety leader or that quality leader is facilitating that meeting using 1440-like tools, maybe a Socratic question set, maybe a work management system.
So it's similar.
It's similar, but a little less
different.
rigorous, so they can do some discussion. And what everyone knows is on Monday we're going to do safety stuff, and on Tuesday we're going to do quality stuff. This eliminates dozens, scores, and maybe even hundreds of ad hoc meetings where people are finding time using that scheduling assistant thing to talk to each other, to push this agenda or that agenda inside of safety or inside of quality or inside of maintenance, because everybody knows that this is going to happen. It's going to happen in a very structured way, deviation from standard, action, owner, and so forth. And so they wait, and it eliminates scores of meetings from the system as people focus around those themes that are happening in a routine, right? So then what starts happening is you start seeing this cultural evolution. You see that the 8 o'clock hour is the meeting at the Gemba, and the 9 o'clock hour is the meeting at the department, and the 10 o'clock hour is the organization-wide meeting. And then the 11 o'clock hour is thematics, that kind of thing, right? And meetings are done before lunch. No meetings in the afternoon. So we've cut out about somewhere between 50 and 85% of the total meetings that are taking place, and they're done in the morning.
Wow.
Right? And in the afternoon, there just aren't meetings. I mean, if there's an emergency or something. But
and just a reminder, these meetings are not taking those full hours either.
No.
We're talking minutes. We're talking 6 to 8 to 10, 11 minutes, right? So you still have that time left over after your meeting before your next one. So,
you're doing the follow-up,
yeah.
you're thinking, planning, and leading.
Sure.
But in the afternoon then, you're free from that disruption.
Completely open.
To think, to plan, to lead your people, and so on.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on with number 2. So number 1, we reduce the duration of meetings dramatically using this system. Everyone gets the virus, right? We start working this.
Right.
But then number 2, we put in the thematics, and the step 1 continues to grow and get deeper and deeper into the organization, right? And then we go into step 3, which it isn't really that happens chronologically,
sure,
but it's the third aspect,
right,
let's say, which is the idea of 1440 meeting etiquette, right?
Okay. Yep.
So that's a way of interacting. And we have many ways to do that. We customize that for the organization, right? One way might be we use the leadership kata. So we develop in the system that when we're talking together, we're always using the leadership kata. Another might be the universal question set, right? And we have a code of conduct that's very crisp and clear for how we'll interact with each other, under what circumstances we would call a meeting, how we work to eliminate meetings, and so forth. So this code of behavior that we all have agreed to, it's customized for the organization, comes into play, and it keeps promoting open conversation, professional engagement, a bias for action, and accountability. And this folds into the existing culture. It doesn't disrupt it, doesn't displace it. Yep. It just enhances it. It's like in the old days, you'd put STP into your gas tank. It's like that. Yeah. It's not replacing the gas.
It's just helping.
Right?
A little bit of help.
Yeah. So that's this third thing, which is the 1440 etiquette, right?
And what's the fourth?
Well, this is getting to the right level. So remember we talked about there's kind of a sweet spot?
Yep.
So this is your optimal meeting level, your OML. So this is helping you establish strategically through metrics, the ATIM, the average time in meetings that people are spending, and some other metrics. We get to the optimal level of meetings. And when that optimal, I know it sounds crazy, but the optimal level for you might be 27. And you know what? Can't have 28. Can't put the 28th meeting in without senior leadership approval.
Right.
Just like you don't take another order, you don't change the orders on the machines, you don't decide there's going to be a new product that's served and sold through your insurance company unless it's approved by senior. Same kind of thing. Yeah. Meetings are major work processes, and you get to your optimal level,
and that's it.
Right. You can go down. Right?
Can't
go up.
Yeah.
And if you go down below a certain level, then you're pushing out of the sweet spot.
Sure.
So you've got this range, 25 to 30, or wherever it might be. And if you go above or below it, it's going to cause some attention to the matter. And we're going to look at it, make sure we're doing the right thing.
How long does that usually take to find that sweet spot?
10 weeks.
Oh man.
10 weeks.
That's pretty short amount of time.
From the time you first start thinking about this stuff until you're getting to this place where you're in the green in terms of the maturity of this system, 10 weeks.
2.5 months.
Yeah.
And you're in.
Yeah. So
that's fantastic.
Those are the 4 kind of major pillars or
awesome.
steps, whatever you want to call them, right? To getting this in. So the value prop.
Yeah, let's talk about...
Let's talk about the value prop.
Let's talk about the value add now.
And we're feeling a little uncomfortable about this because
this is a little weird.
Yeah, because up until now, we haven't done this. We've just said, here's cool stuff you can learn.
That's right.
We don't kind of do any ads really or anything.
We really don't.
But of course, the truth is we're doing this podcast to generate leads, to connect with prospective clients. Yep. We also want to provide a service. We want to teach people things and help them improve their businesses. But we would like to improve our business as a result of that as well. So right now, from now until the end of the year, and it's a very good time to do this, right? We'll help you put in the 1440 management system, which means helping you get through all of those 4 pillars.
That's right.
No matter where you are in the U.S., all included cost, right, is $13,657.
Right.
Right? So we don't care if you're in an organization of 5,000 or an organization of 100, price is the same.
Yep.
We don't care if it's in Red Bluff, California, or Bangor, Maine.
Nope.
Or even Dry Tortuga. You know, if you park rangers want to do this in Dry Tortuga, let us know. Right?
Yeah, let us know.
So no matter where it is, we'll come, and it takes us about 3 days of on-site implementation, right? The 1 day for the initial training, and then the 2 days where we're with you when you first start doing those meetings. And during that time, we've got a lot of downtime, so we'll leverage in another skill set like Gemba walks. People love our Gemba walks process. Yep. It's very good for your business. It's a critical leadership skill, but we have others you could choose too,
of course,
right? And we'll do that as well. So that's just my Midwestern's coming out. It's one heck of a value, Luke.
Sounds great.
One heck of a value.
Sounds great, Dave.
Right? And so you'll see up on the screen a connect. You can call us. You can talk to us or whatever if you're interested in this.
We'll put a link on the screen. We'll also have the link in the show description, but that's how you can get a hold of us, reach out to us, and talk about implementing the 1440 management system.
And we hope you do. We'd love to come and help you do it, no matter what your business, no matter what the language, no matter where you are.
Yep.
And we're going to do another show
so
on the details of the 1440, so you can get a peek under the covers.
Right. Yeah, we can actually look at the how you develop the Socratic questions, the work management system that we talked about. Things of that nature, so you can actually see them and see how they're used, and as Dave said, peek under the covers a little bit.
Yeah. So whether you are interested in the 1440 management system or not, we hope you are.
Yeah.
But whether you are not, the most important thing is that you accept as a leader that one of your core duties is to have a streamlined, effective, continually improving meeting management system. And that this is not only about productivity for your business, it's a key aspect of evenness.
Right.
And evenness is something in the Avanula way that we believe every leader should be working on all the time, improving evenness for the customer and for the people that you lead. So the 1440 management system is just an excellent way to bring about evenness.
Right. Fantastic. Love it. It's good.
All right.
All right.
We'll talk to you
Is
soon.
that going to wrap up for today?
Yeah. That's
okay. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to the TPL Show. We hope you'll apply what you learned today and tell us how it went. If you want to share, want more information, or have questions, please contact us at info@tplshow.org. Have a great day.